In the last podcast, we've shown you how to tackle the A2 key speaking exam along with Ștefan and Alexandra. This time, we will be focusing on the next level. The Cambridge B1 preliminary is a stepping stone into the international world of English communication. The B1 preliminary qualification, as stated on the Cambridge site, shows that you have mastered the basics of English and now have practical language skills for everyday use. Convenient, right? While the A2 key and the B1 preliminary exams are not majorly different, there are a few key differences, such as the addition of Part 2, where you have to describe an image on your own for about a minute. This can be tricky because it requires attention to detail, knowing some useful tips and tricks, and trying your best to have as little dead air in your discourse as possible. There are many ways to approach this part, but first, let's take a look at how it isn't supposed to be approached. Now I'd like each of you to talk on your own about something. I'm going to give each of you a photograph, and I'd like you to talk about it. Ștefan, here is your photograph. It shows some people doing an activity on a sunny day. Now you have about a minute to talk about your photograph.
Okay, I can see people riding a bike in the mountains, mountain biking, and I can see some beautiful mountains, a forest, and a family. They seem to be happy to their kid, and that's it. I think. Yeah, that's it.
As you can see, this image was quite overwhelming for our candidate Ștefan, as he did not know what to say with regard to what he was seeing. Now, had Ștefan known that there are some tips for this part, he would have done better. For this part, you can also assume certain elements of the picture. You can pick a spot to describe somewhere in the back, like the mountains and the forest, and build your way to the front. Now, here's how the speaking part should have gone. In this part, each candidate will talk on his own about something. I'm going to give you a photograph and I'd like you to talk about it. Ștefan, here is your photograph. It shows some people doing an activity on a sunny day. Now, you have about a minute to talk about your photograph.
Okay, so in the background I can see a large mountain surrounded by a forest. Perhaps there's even a lake nearby, although that's not sure. I can see a track through the grass. Then I can see a family having fun, biking along the track. They seem to be having fun and they seem to be a united family. Mountain biking seems like an interesting and healthy activity, even though it might be scary because of the wildlife living in the mountains, such as bears, vultures, and many other wild animals. This seems to be a place I would visit myself with my family or friends, and it looks really natural and quiet too. Maybe it would be a nice vacation spot.
Thank you. Now, in the next part of the test... Now, this is closer to what the examiners would grade as a maximum points speaking part. Ștefan used a variety of assumptions and interesting vocabulary, and he described the image background to foreground so as to buy himself some time, instead of stopping well before the timer was up for the part. Beware, it is much better for the examiner to stop you than for you to stop on your own. Other than this, in the B1 preliminary, there is nothing new, other than reaching a conclusion with your partner in Part 3, where you have to discuss the images based on a given scenario. Although this is not compulsory and neither will it lead to a decrease in your overall score. Finally, after some explanations, we can wrap up these sessions of tips and tricks, and we will see you next time for the B2 First Speaking Exam.